I used to believe that anniversaries meant something, that after 12 years of marriage, routines were simply a sign of comfort, of knowing each other so well that the spark didn't need to be flashy to exist. But then the changes began. At first, they were subtle, so small that I almost laughed at myself for noticing them. Lily would wake up before dawn, long before the alarm, humming to herself as she did her makeup. She'd put on perfume just to go to the grocery store. She suddenly cared about her nails, her hair, her clothes. She started buying fitted dresses and heels she had no reason to wear in our quiet Portland neighborhood. She was glowing. And I wasn't the reason. I tried to ignore it. I told myself she was just reclaiming a part of herself she'd lost after motherhood. Maybe she was feeling more confident. Maybe a friend had inspired her. Maybe I'd been too distracted with work, and she was simply trying to feel beautiful again. But deep down, a cold pit formed in my stomach. Something felt wrong. Her phone, once abandoned on the kitchen counter, became glued to her hand. It vibrated constantly, buzzing against the wood table, against the couch cushions, against her thigh. Whenever I walked into the room, she'd flip it over or slide it into her purse. And our conversations, the ones that used to stretch late into the night, dried up into short, clipped exchanges. How was work? Fine. Do you want to watch something together? I'm tired. She'd smile at me, but the smile never reached her eyes. The worst part was that I still wanted to believe her. I wanted to be the kind of husband who trusted his wife, who didn't jump to conclusions, who didn't start imagining shadows that weren't really there. But the shadows kept growing. One evening, our son Oliver sat beside me on the living room couch, swinging his legs absent-mindedly while scrolling through cartoons. "Dad," he said suddenly. "Yeah, buddy?" "Mom looks happy again." His voice was full of innocent satisfaction, as if he'd solved a puzzle. My chest tightened. "What do you mean?" "She smiles a lot now," he said, not looking up from the screen. "Like she used to, and she keeps singing in the mornings." "I like it." I forced a smile. "Yeah, that's nice." He glanced up at me then, the way kids do when they sense something adults don't want them to. His eyes narrowed in concern. "Are you happy too?" The question hit me like a punch. I should have lied. I should have reassured him. But the words wouldn't come. Instead, I ruffled his hair and pulled him close. "I'm working on it," I whispered. That night, after putting Oliver to bed, I sat alone in the dim kitchen, staring at the untouched dinner I'd cooked for the three of us. Lily had texted earlier that she was going out with coworkers, and she hadn't returned yet. It was nearly midnight. My thoughts spiraled. What if she really was seeing someone? What if everything we'd built, our home, our family, our memories, was crumbling behind my back? I needed answers. The next morning, after dropping Oliver off at school, I found myself parked in front of a small brick office building with a sign that read, "Turner Investigations, Confidential, Discreet, Professional." I sat in the car for almost 10 minutes, gripping the steering wheel, battling shame. Hiring a private detective felt like betrayal, like I was the one breaking trust. But something inside me had snapped. I walked in. The man who greeted me was in his late 50s, tall, with sharp gray eyes and a calm presence that made me feel both exposed and strangely reassured. "Sam Turner," he said, shaking my hand firmly. "What can I help you with, mister?" "Grant," I replied. "Michael Grant." He gestured toward a leather chair. "Tell me what's going on." I hesitated, searching for the right words. My wife? Lily? She's different. She's distant. She lies about where she goes. Her phone never stops. I think she might be seeing someone. He nodded slowly. How long have you suspected? About 2 months, I admitted. And how long have you been married? 12 years. That seemed to change something in his expression. Not pity, but a kind of seriousness, reserved for long-term betrayals. What do you want from me, Michael? He asked. I want the truth. He leaned back, folding his hands. I can find that for you. But I'll warn you now. The truth isn't always what people hope it will be. If I uncover something, you can't unknow it. I understand, I said, though my voice wavered. Are you sure? I swallowed hard. Yes. He nodded. Then I'll get to work. A week passed. A week of tension, of forced smiles, of pretending everything was normal. Lily continued to drift further away, coming home late, avoiding intimacy, offering excuses that sounded rehearsed. I'm exhausted. We had a team dinner. I'm helping a friend with something. Every lie scraped against my nerves. I barely slept. Then, one afternoon, while I was at home organizing paperwork, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I answered immediately. Michael, Sam's voice said. I have something you need to see. My heart stopped. Come to my office. When I walked in, Sam was waiting with a folder on his desk. He didn't speak right away. He simply pushed it toward me. My hands trembled as I opened it. The first photo showed Lily walking into a boutique hotel downtown, wearing a red dress I'd never seen before. The second showed her in the lobby, holding hands with a man. Tall, well-groomed, confident. A charcoal suit, polished shoes, the kind of posture that came from knowing he could have anything he wanted. My stomach dropped. Who is he? I whispered. His name is Andrew Cole, Sam replied. Corporate attorney, works at a large firm in the city. I flipped to the next photo. They were sitting at a restaurant, leaning close, laughing. Lily's eyes sparkled in a way they hadn't with me in years. Another photo, Andrew kissing her neck, her fingers intertwined with his. Then a final image, them entering a hotel room together. I felt the world tilt. How long? I croaked. Sam hesitated. Michael, it's been going on for a long time. How long? I demanded. He exhaled. 10 years. The room went silent. 10 years. 10 years of lies, of stolen moments, of fake anniversaries, of intimacy she shared with me while belonging to someone else. 10 years of me raising a family, believing in a marriage that had already died. I couldn't breathe. Sam watched me carefully. I'm truly sorry. I closed the folder slowly, my hands numb. My entire marriage flashed before me. Every holiday, every vacation, every birthday. Had she been sneaking away to him all that time? Had she been thinking of him when she kissed me goodnight? My voice broke. Why didn't she leave me? Sam shook his head. People stay for many reasons. Comfort, stability, reputation, fear. I stared at the photos again, unable to look away. 10 years. Everything I'd built, everything I'd devoted my life to, suddenly felt like a cruel joke. And yet, somewhere beneath the shock and heartbreak, something else stirred. Not rage, not grief, clarity. If this was the truth, then our upcoming anniversary wouldn't be just a celebration. It would be the moment everything changed. For both of us. For 2 days after seeing those photos, I moved through life like a ghost. I still made breakfast for Oliver, still packed his lunch, still drove him to school. I still answered emails, still showed up to work. still pretended that the world hadn't tilted on its axis and crushed me beneath it. But inside, something fundamental had cracked. Every time Lily walked past me, smiling distractedly or brushing a kiss against my cheek, my skin crawled. Every laugh sounded rehearsed. Every glance she stole at her phone felt like a knife twisting deeper. The worst part? She seemed genuinely happy. Light, free, radiant, as if carrying this secret, this double life, had energized her rather than burdened her. I found myself studying her in a way I never had before, analyzing her expressions, her routines, the way she moved, looking for signs I'd missed. And then, one evening, the final blow landed. It started with something small, stupid really. Oliver had a school project about blood types. He needed to create a chart comparing how blood groups worked in families. "Dad?" he asked, sitting at the kitchen table, crayons scattered everywhere. "What's your blood type again?" "O negative," I said automatically. "And Mom is a positive," Lily added casually, scrolling through her phone. Oliver looked thoughtful. "Mine is AB. Mrs. Carter said that's rare." I froze. Something flickered in my memory. Something I'd heard once in college biology. O negative and A positive? Could that produce AB? I wasn't sure, but the doubt hit me like a freight train. "Where did you get that, buddy?" I asked, trying to sound calm. "From my medical card," he said proudly. "They tested me last year when I got sick." Lily didn't react. She kept scrolling. A cold, sharp thought sliced through me. What if Andrew wasn't just her lover? What if he was Oliver's biological father? My hands began to tremble under the table. "Lily," I said quietly, "what's my blood type?" She glanced up. "Oh, negative. Why? And Oliver's is AB?" She nodded. "Yeah. Why does it matter?" She didn't even flinch. Either she was the world's best liar, or she had never bothered to think about it. I excused myself, stepping into the hallway, my heart pounding against my ribs. I Googled it. The result was immediate. O negative plus. A positive cannot produce AB. Not biologically possible. My vision blurred. I leaned against the wall, gasping. 10 years of infidelity was devastating. But discovering that the boy I'd loved, raised, held as a newborn, comforted through fevers, taught to ride a bike, read bedtime stories to every night, might not be mine. That shattered me. I didn't sleep that night. I lay awake next to Lily, staring at the ceiling, listening to her breathe softly, peacefully, as if she didn't have a care in the world. At 3 a.m., I sat up and made a decision. If I was going to confront her, if I was going to end this marriage, I needed undeniable proof, not just photos, not just assumptions, something that would destroy every lie she could possibly tell. I grabbed my phone and texted Sam. "We need to talk. Tomorrow." His reply came minutes later. "Come in at noon." When I arrived, I felt hollow. Sam studied me quietly as I sat down. "You look like you've seen a ghost," he said. "I might have," I whispered. I explained the blood type situation, my voice breaking halfway through. He listened without interrupting. When I finished, he nodded slowly. "Do you want a paternity test?" The words felt like poison. "Yes." He leaned forward. "I can arrange a legal test. Discreet. Admissible in court." "Do it." He hesitated. "Michael, if the boy isn't yours..." I slammed my fist against the desk. "He's my son." Sam didn't flinch. "I understand. But you need to be prepared for what the results might do to you." "I need the truth," I whispered. "I can't live like this." He nodded. "I'll take care of it." The test required a sample from Oliver, but I handled it under the guise of a school health form. He didn't suspect a thing. He smiled at me as I swabbed the inside of his cheek, trusting me completely. That nearly destroyed me. When I mailed the sample, my hands shook so violently I could barely seal the envelope. The waiting was torture. Every minute felt like a lifetime. Every time I looked at Oliver, guilt and love and fear twisted inside me. I prayed the test would prove me wrong. I prayed that at least this part of my life wasn't built on lies. That night, Lily came home late again, hair tousled, lipstick smudged, smelling faintly of cologne that wasn't mine. She smiled. "Long day," she sighed, dropping her purse. I stared at her, wondering how many times she'd walked through that door after being in another man's arms. "Did you have fun?" I asked carefully. She froze for a fraction of a second, then forced a casual laugh. "Just work stuff." She kissed my cheek. I felt nothing. 2 days later, Sam called. "Come to my office, now." His tone told me everything. When I arrived, he didn't waste time. He slid an envelope across the desk. My heartbeat roared in my ears as I tore it open. The first line hit like a bullet. Probability of paternity, 0.0%. My vision tunneled. The paper blurred. My breath caught in my throat as an animalistic sound escaped me, a broken, strangled gasp. Sam spoke softly. "I'm sorry." I stared at the words again and again, unable to comprehend them. Oliver wasn't mine. 10 years. 10 years of lies. 10 years of raising another man's child without knowing. My knees nearly buckled. I sank into the chair, burying my face in my hands. I had suspected betrayal. But this was annihilation. When I finally looked up, my voice was barely audible. "I'm going to end it." Sam nodded. "Do you want revenge?" he asked quietly. "Or closure?" I wiped my eyes. "Both." He leaned back. "Then you need to be strategic. If you confront her now, she'll twist it. She'll cry, she'll manipulate, she'll blame you. She might even try to deny everything." I clenched my fists. "So what do I do?" He folded his hands. "Your anniversary is next week." My stomach lurched. "I know." "Use it," he said. "Make that night the moment she loses everything she's taken from you." I stared at him. "How?" He smiled faintly. "I'll help you plan it." And in that moment, something inside me hardened. Grief cooled into resolve. Pain sharpened into purpose. If Lily wanted to play games for 10 years, if she wanted to humiliate me, betray me, steal the family I thought I had, then our anniversary would be her last celebration as my wife. And she would never forget it. I didn't immediately realize what exactly had changed inside me the moment the door slammed behind Marissa. It should have been just another fight, another scream, another day in our broken home. But something clicked, as if the last thread that kept me in the role of the quiet, patient, apologizing husband finally snapped, and for the first time in a long while, I felt relief. Not pain, not anger. Relief. I sat on the bed, staring at the space where she had just stood, and suddenly started laughing. Quietly, almost hysterically. Because it finally hit me. I no longer had to save something that had died long ago. The next day, I decided to act. Instead of waiting for another storm, I drove to a lawyer. His name was Leonard Hayes, and he was known for handling divorce cases where one spouse tried to hide infidelity and financial fraud. He listened to my story, reviewed the evidence, messages, photos, recorded conversations, bank documents, showing that Marissa had secretly withdrawn money. Then he looked up at me and said, "You have a perfect case. If you're willing to go all the way, she'll lose almost everything. The house, the car, no alimony, and she may even face criminal charges for taking funds without your consent. A chill ran through me. "I'm ready," I said. And for the first time, it was true. Marissa came home late that evening. She smelled of expensive perfume, and I noticed a fresh bruise on her neck, like a bite mark. She didn't try to hide it, didn't explain anything. She just walked past me and tossed over her shoulder. "You're still here? I thought you'd finally packed up and left." But I only smiled. "Funny," I said calmly. "I'm actually planning to start living here for real." She stopped, turned, narrowed her eyes. "What?" "Tomorrow appraisers are coming. The house won't be in your name anymore." Her face went pale. "You don't have the right—" "Oh, I do. I have proof. Lots of it." For the first time, I saw fear in her eyes. Real fear. "We'll talk about this later," she muttered, hurrying upstairs. But I already knew. There would be no later for her. The most surprising thing happened 2 days later. A man called me. A calm, unfamiliar voice said, "My name is Oscar. I'm the one Marissa has been seeing. We need to talk." I froze. "Why?" He sighed. "Because she didn't just lie to you." And in that moment I understood. The destruction was only beginning, and I was ready to see it through. I agreed to meet Oscar, though every instinct told me it was a terrible idea. We chose a small cafe on the outskirts of Brookside, far enough from downtown that no one we knew would stumble in. When I walked in, I immediately recognized him. Tall, athletic, expensive watch. The kind of man Marissa always claimed she deserved. But his face wasn't arrogant. It was terrified. He stood up quickly when he saw me. "Thank you for coming," he said, voice low. I crossed my arms. "You said you had something important." He nodded, looked around, then leaned closer. "Marissa told me she was single." I let out a humorless laugh. "She told everyone that." He shook his head. "No, you don't understand. She told me she never married. She even showed me a fake ID with her maiden name and a different birth date." My smile faded. "What are you talking about?" He swallowed hard. "She also told me she owned your house, that she inherited money, that she'd invested in my startup with her own funds." My chest tightened. "What startup?" He rubbed his temples. "The one she promised to support. I already spent half of what she transferred. Now the bank is saying the money came from a joint account." It hit me like a punch. She hadn't just stolen for herself. She had laundered money through him. I leaned back, stunned. "She never invested in anything before," I murmured. Oscar let out a shaky breath. "She didn't invest. She stole. And now the financial police are looking into the transfer. If they trace it back to me—" He looked me directly in the eyes. "I'll go to prison." For a moment, I didn't know what to feel. Pity? Satisfaction? Maybe both. "So what do you want from me?" I asked. He hesitated. "I need your help to prove she manipulated both of us." I stared at him, then slowly shook my head. "No, you need my lawyer." He blinked. "What?" "If she used you to move stolen money," I said quietly, "you're a witness. Not a victim, not a partner, a witness, and the moment she feels cornered, she will throw you under the bus." He looked down, defeated. "I loved her," he whispered. I almost laughed again. "I did too," I said softly. "Look where it got us." When I returned home, the house was silent. Too silent. I walked upstairs and found the bedroom door open. Drawers pulled out. Closet half empty. Jewelry box gone. Marissa had fled. Of course she had. She always ran when consequences caught up. For a moment, I stood in the middle of the room, surrounded by the remains of what used to be our life, and felt an unexpected calm wash over me. This wasn't loss. This was liberation. The next morning, Leonard called. "We've filed the papers," he said. "Given the evidence in her disappearance, you'll get the house, assets, and full financial control. She'll likely face charges." I exhaled slowly. "So it's really over." He paused. "For her, probably not. People like her don't disappear quietly." 3 weeks later, I received a letter. No return address. Inside was a single sheet of paper. In Marissa's handwriting, "You took everything from me. Enjoy it while you can." No apology, no explanation, just spite. I folded the letter, placed it in a drawer, and closed it. Because for the first time since this nightmare began, I finally understood something important. She didn't ruin my life. She freed me from it. And I wasn't going to waste my second chance. Not again.